Hey, good afternoon, and this is Julie Hibben. I want to welcome you to the IPFS Supervisor Update Call for March. Thanks for being here. I know it's a really busy time of the year for all of you. So hopefully, just a quick reminder before we get started, we are recording this call, and I will be sending out the link hopefully at the end of this week, if not sooner. And if just as a reminder also, if you'd please mute your line just so we can cut down on background noise, we would appreciate that. So hopefully you can see the agenda in front of you. And there are a few updates that we just want to share at the get-go of our call. So we'll just kind of round robin. So if you would want to talk about how you're supporting your coordinator through implementation challenges. We know that this is kind of the time where there may be some things that you thought were going to work out a certain way and maybe aren't, or there may be some challenges with capacity in your county and people are not really understanding the strategy and you're kind of having to go back and do some education. So talk about how you're supporting your coordinator if there's some of those challenges happening in your county. And then if you would share a recent success related to the implementation step, just something that's maybe happened over the last couple months. And then if you have any questions for any of the other supervisors that are on the call. And if you'd also just introduce yourself, we'd appreciate that. So who would like to go first?
This is Jonathan with Jackson Recovery Centers. I'm fine going first today.
Okay, hi Jonathan.
Hi, can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I don't have anything too terribly exciting to add since our last update. Davidson's been working hard with Sioux City, but we've kind of hit some stagnation on a couple of different items in our action plan. We got 2 of the 3 colleges trained in basics and helped them purchase the eCheckup to Go software. But it's slowed down a little bit trying to get that implemented and rolled out. The colleges themselves aren't really willing to entertain formal policy changes at this time. And the counselors are starting to screen people with eCheckup to Go, but their scores have all been on the low end and haven't really merited a referral to the basics program. They are starting to ask us questions about possibly investing further in the kind of the marijuana equivalent of basics and eCheckup to Go, because they feel like in their particular schools the greater need right now is marijuana. So we're starting to explore that option for them. And party patrols, we've done 2 of the 4, but they've not resulted in any citations on any youth yet.
Okay. Any successes that are happening through your project? I know you've had a lot of publicity around some of your enforcement strategy work.
Yes, another area we've kind of hit a wall is with trying to get the city to impose any type of mandated training for alcohol sellers who are in violation. That's also hit a wall due to some state laws, but we're starting to hear some rumors that there's further discussion going on to work with that. City attorneys are getting involved. Davidson plans on checking in with some folks later on this week to see if there's any firm news to report on that. But I don't feel confident saying we have anything new since the last report to say that it's been a success.
Okay. No, that's totally fine. And then I just want to confirm, and I'm sure you know this already, but the marijuana component of basics can't be purchased through PFS because that's not a priority issue for the grant.
Right.
So you'd have to seek out other funding to cover that component. So I'm sure you know that, but I just want to clarify.
No, I appreciate that.
Okay. Well, thank you for your update. And I know basics, there are a lot of components to it. There are kind of a lot of moving pieces. So it sounds like things are moving. It's just maybe slower than anticipated. So if
Right.
there's any other ways that we can help support the work you're doing, please let us know. Appreciate the update. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Who would like to go next?
Julie, this is Heidi with Van Buren County.
Hi.
In terms of challenges supporting the coordinator, we've run into a couple of things. One was our school district's, the school district was not interested in posting some of the media campaign in places we had originally planned. And the reason for that was due to a new remodel that was done and them not wanting those types of things stuck to the walls in locations we had originally planned. So I met with the school district, spoke to the superintendent about other options, and her and I sat down and had a meeting, and then the coalition got back together and discussed where they felt like we could find new locations to reach that target audience. And so they came up with some new ideas and took it back to the superintendent, and she agreed to the ideas that they came up with. So we were able to get through that challenge, and I kind of helped facilitate that conversation with her just because I have that relationship.
Sure.
So
That's great.
yeah, and so I did that. And then also we are really looking to work with or have our coalition members be the voice of the coalition and not so much myself and our coordinator, Chris. And so we drafted an email to them and asking them to help support one of the projects in terms of going out to the private facilities and meeting with them on a proposed policy for their facilities. And so I kind of helped her write that up and draft that, and she got that sent out to our membership. So that was another area where I helped her with a challenge she was struggling with.
How was the response to that email, or did you just recently send it out?
We just sent it out. I think it was late last week. And so I'm not sure how much feedback she's got. We don't meet until later this week, so I'll check with her at that point. But I know we had a few people volunteer initially to help, so I know we've got some interest in doing that.
Good. That's great.
Yeah. And so for our successes, I think around that whole private facilities has been, we've seen a lot of success in terms of completing the audit on all of the facilities. Packets were sent to the private facilities with information about the project and sample policies that they could implement. And then now the ask of the coalition to then do the follow-up on those packets to determine the needs and interests of developing those policies in their locations. So that project has been going really well, and we've been seeing forward movement on that. So that's exciting.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Good, and great way to put some of the work or share the responsibility of the work on with the coalition. So yeah, so thank you for the update. I appreciate it.
And I don't really have any questions for other supervisors, but I did want to thank the groups that shared with us their policies for public places. There were a couple of maybe your coordinators who sent us some sample policies that you guys had used either, I think more in SPIF-SIG on policies in public places. And so that's kind of our next step in moving forward with that project at our next coalition meeting. So thank you for those of you who shared that information. It was very helpful.
Good. And I think our coordinators are pretty good about sharing information, and that kind of started in the SPIF-SIG project. And, somebody, if a agency or coordinator has taken the time to create some kind of document, or there was a policy that was that had a lot of support in a county, people were really willing to share that information. I hope that continues. It's something I know we talked with the capacity coaches about, reminding the coordinators they can use the workstation. Please be sharing resources so we don't have to reinvent the wheel. So I'm glad that happened. Thank you. Good. Thank you. All right, who'd like to go next?
Hi, this is Tessa with Helping Services.
Hi, Tessa.
Let's see, challenges. I'm just got back from maternity leave middle of February. So one of the challenges that we have been working on is the Strengthening Families program, recruiting families for that. We've had I guess one success in there is we just had one program complete their graduation last night. But then there was a few that we had set up and didn't get enough families for that didn't run previously. So that's kind of a challenge, I guess, also, especially with a new coordinator and trying to, so she's not getting too down about it, but trying to figure out how to support her in finding those families and brainstorming other ways of reaching out to them, whether it's through finding a champion parent or a provider or different providers or churches that are referring specific families. So that's been our main challenge lately.
Which, as we know, it's that parent population is so incredibly important to the work we do in prevention. It's just so difficult sometimes to really get them to attend programs, but Strengthening Families is wonderful and it has such great research behind it. So I know you all are working really hard to try to figure out some next steps. So
yes, yep. I don't have any other questions.
Okay.
Unless you have had experience with Strengthening Families and want to send me some, any ideas would be welcomed. Thank you.
Yes. So if any of you have worked on the Strengthening Families program through your agency, not either through any of your grant funding, please, if you have some suggestions for Tessa, you can share them now, or you can feel free to contact Tessa. I'm sure she'd be willing to to hear any of the tips that you have on making sure that that program is implemented well. So it's definitely, it can be, I know I worked and we implemented that program in an agency I worked for many years ago, and it a lot of the same challenges, and it was a more populated county, but the same challenges were present that you all are dealing with at Helping Services. So any information you have to provide to Tessa, I'm sure she'd appreciate that. Okay. Thank you, Tessa.
Yep.
And welcome back too, by the way.
Thanks.
Okay. Who would like to go next?
This is Christy Jenkins with New Opportunities.
Hi, Christy.
I am hoping my appointment shows, but we'll see, so I'll go quick.
Okay.
Sac and Audubon counties. In Sac County, things seem to be rolling along smoothly. I don't recall if we've gotten anything back. We are having an issue with the school not wanting to implement halfway through the school year, since not all the students would receive the same thing during the school year for Prime for Life. And other than that, things seem to be going well. In Audubon County, we are facing some issues with Prime for Life that we're currently exploring, and I'm just being available for the coordinator and helping her find resources and information, and we may be coming to you for some further guidance soon. The school isn't as on board with it now because of the 0123. And we did also have an issue in Audubon with law enforcement. However, we think we've got that managed with other law enforcement covering. So I think we're trucking along, and I just appreciate my coordinators being on top of things and keeping me in the loop. And I do have Brandy, our Audubon coordinator, leaving. Her last full-time day is a week from tomorrow. However, she is staying on 10 hours a week until I get someone hired, and then she'll help train them as well. She's going to grad school and just couldn't swing home, work, and school all full-time. So
Sure.
don't blame her.
Oh, well, I'm glad she can stay on to help with the transition, and that will be, I'm sure, very helpful to you. So we're sad to see her go, but I'm glad that she can at least assist and make sure that that new person gets some training and can help make some connections for that new person before she takes off. So,
Yes.
okay. And I do owe you an email, Christy, you and Diane. So I know that is coming. I was sick almost the whole entire week last week, so I was out of the office a lot. So I'm still playing catch up.
I've had the flu. I hear you. It's
Yes,
all
it
good.
was. Yes, it was not a good week. So, okay. Thank you for the update. Appreciate it. All right. Who'd like to go next?
This is Shelley from Webster County Community and Family Resources. I'll go.
Okay. Hi, Shelley.
Hi. We have kind of run into a little bit of an issue with our social host in Webster County. Our board of supervisors had put a stop to having the county attorney work on anything until they felt like they wanted to move forward with it. They didn't like the wording of all the model policies that we brought them, and the model policies, of course, model the state language. And we brought up that we were struggling to even get them to respond to Mickey. And, you know, she's attending board of supervisor meetings quite frequently, and we just had 2 of them that are brand new. So she was in the process of trying to get them to meet with her individually just so she could bring them up to speed with the project. And we made the comment, you know, it would be nice if they would just respond. And one of our, we don't know this for sure, I guess, we think that one of our people that said she would talk with them did that, because the very next morning, Mickey got an email back from one board of supervisor, and I don't even think that he has the authority to make that decision and without it being discussed at a meeting, but that they were thanking her for all of her help and the work that she was doing in Webster County, but that they were not interested in moving forward with anything with social host.
Oh,
So we are working with Claire to try to build some more capacity, but it's a little bit that, you know, one person, and he happens to be a bar owner. I don't know if that's really where we're running into the snag. But am I correct that he really can't just make that decision without more of a discussion?
that I'm not sure. I don't know. The supervisors that I would assume that would have to be something that they would talk about in a meeting, but maybe not. Does anyone know for sure?
I would think it would be worth taking to a full meeting and make sure that it is a group consensus and not just one.
Okay.
I think I would probably lean in that direction too.
Okay.
Because if it, you know, we've experienced this, and I know in the SPIFSIG project that there were board of supervisors who had that were bar owners or had kind of an interest in alcohol sales, and so, but there's more than one board of supervisor, you know, that helps make decisions. So yes, I maybe taking it to the meeting and just hearing that from every board of supervisor, just to see if that's truly what they all think and it's not just one person.
Because they've just switched it over, so we've got 2 people that have no background about it, you know. So I guess I feel like he did make that decision on his own, and he was the chairperson at one time, but I don't think that chairperson really has more authority than others. But.
True. No, I would maybe push a little bit, and if your coalition is wanting to go in that direction, and see if you can get them all to maybe explain why, or really get their feelings about the direction of social host in a public meeting.
Okay. And then I guess if anyone has any ideas on how, even after they, because I mean, that's one of our goals. So we still have to try to work through some of that. So trying to reframe information and bringing it back to them. School policy, we discussed it again at our last meeting last week. And I guess, you know, a lot of the school people feel like they're more willing to make a procedure change rather than a formal policy change. So we have some work to do there. And as far as supporting my coordinator, you know, we also have several small parochial schools. And so trying to get them on board, you know, brainstorming with Mickey about how we can approach them. We did come up with one idea that actually we did receive some feedback on that I think is going to be helpful. Just reaching out to everyone at our agency and saying, you know, do you have any connections to the parochial schools? We'd really love to get this in. One of our therapists actually used to provide services at that school when he was a mental health therapist. Gave us the principal's contact, and then I have a niece who her kids had gone there and the same thing. So they are expecting a call back from Mickey now. So I don't think I have anything else, but I will send, I have worked with Strengthening Families for many years, so I'll send some stuff to Tessa.
Great. I appreciate that. Well, yeah, I appreciate, and also I know there's, you know, all of you are facing challenges and trying to figure out how best to frame messages about strategies and figuring out whether you need to go back and maybe build some capacity or get different people at the table. And that's just a part of SPIF. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about some technical assistance needs, but if there's some additional ways that IDPH can help support you and your county and your coordinator, we've got some new options for all of you, but you just need to let us know. Thanks, Shelley.
Sure.
All right. Who would like to go next?
This is Vicki with Pathways.
Hi, Vicki.
Hello. First of all, I'd like to say that I think Carol's moving along very well in Chickasaw County. We're moving through the strategies. Had a little bit of a challenge with doing some of the media scans or the ad scans. We had originally, some youth groups had said they were interested in doing them, and then they backed out. And so we had to find we kind of brainstormed and figured out another direction to go with that. So we had youth groups in Nashua doing some, and we're still trying to locate some youth in New Hampton to do the media scans. So we're working through it. So we just do some brainstorming and talking and try to figure out. It's just frustrating, I think, for Carol, as it is for us when people say they're going to do something and then don't follow through. So
Yes,
the way it is. Success story. All Stars is going very great, very well, and all the students should complete on time with the All Stars, which is kind of pretty impressive considering the weather challenges we've had up there in Chickasaw County, with school being canceled and things being rearranged. We've got some schools doing, Carol's been in there doing fidelity checks. She's also been talking with All Stars about some of the things the schools are doing with All Stars. Like, for example, she was telling me about this morning, classroom, a teacher wasn't able to complete the lesson, so she was going to complete it on Thursday. And so she did check with All Stars, and they say, yeah, that still maintains fidelity and things are working out. So she's doing a good job with that. I don't have any questions for any other supervisors at this time.
Okay. Well, thank you. Sounds like things are moving along. Some bumps in the road, but hopefully you'll find somebody else to assist with those scans. So thank you for the update. Who is next? Who would like to go next?
This is Lisa. I can go next. And one thing I've tried to do with my coordinator is just have him think a little bit outside the box. The school policy strategy is the one strategy that's moved kind of slowly in Appomattox County. And so we got some volunteers to have a subcommittee And then they had their first meeting with the superintendent yesterday afternoon. So I'm waiting to hear word. I was out of the office this morning, but I'm back now, and I was just waiting for word to see how that went. But just kind of come up with some other ideas instead of trying different things that have worked well in the past. And I think my coordinator has done a good job with that and taking some extra time to build capacity when needed. So.
Good. That's
And
great.
the one recent success that we've had that I wanted to share is when doing the law enforcement strategies, which are saturation patrols, walkthroughs, and the seatbelt enforcement zones. We are really trying to focus with the State Patrol to do high-profile days, and they are going to conduct this quarters on St. Patrick's Day, which is next Friday, March 17th. So we're very pleased with that we're going to have the 2 troopers there in the county doing those strategies for them.
Good. And I think I saw that you've done some publicizing of that strategy work that's going to be happening. So that's very important. So that's great.
Yep. And I really don't have any questions right now, but if I think of any, I will buzz in.
Okay, great. Thank you, Lisa. All right, who would like to go next?
This is Leslie, and I can go.
Hi.
Hi. So we've been busy. Julie's doing a good job of getting through all of the strategies. She's got something going with all of them. The biggest thing right now is we've got 2 things that are good news, and we're just trying to make sure that we can figure out how to make them work. And so I've been working with her on that. The first is the shoulder tap. We've done a couple groups of shoulder taps, and they've been very successful from the law enforcement and the student perspective. We've had some great students, and law enforcement is pretty much taking care of it on their own. A couple months ago for her town hall meeting, Julie had her town hall focused on law enforcement, so all of the law enforcement in the county came together for a town hall meeting. And one of the things that they talked about was how they were going to coordinate shoulder tap and compliance checks and things like that. And so they've been organizing and coordinating amongst themselves for that. So that's been successful. The part that's not been so successful is that the bars that we've done shoulder tap are the stores that we've been doing shoulder tap at. They've jumped on board. They said yes. They did one a couple weeks ago. The owner was completely on board, and then it became obvious that he had sent out word to people to avoid being there. And then when the kids confronted somebody who said yes, he'd buy for them, the clerk behind the counter came running out and told him, no, it's a trap.
No.
So there's some education and information that law enforcement is going to go back out and do with the convenience store and liquor license holders to kind of explain to them why this is an important strategy and give them back the focus. The other thing that we've been working on is we're doing our evidence-based program with Bellevue School District specifically, primarily because that's what we could afford to do, and with the program that we're doing, because we're doing Project Northland. And Bellevue's always been a very difficult school for us to get into. They're a very closed-off community. And so when they let us come in, we wanted to really focus with them. It's been going very well to the point where the superintendent of schools at Bellevue has been talking to the other superintendents of the other schools about what a fantastic program it is and that they should do it. So now we've got other school districts wanting to do it, but we're not real sure how we do that as far as within the project and funding and sustainability. So that would be my question is there an answer on using other funding with other schools? Has there been a decision on that, or how do we go about doing that? So that's what we've got going on.
Okay. And Leslie, I can follow up with you on that. I think there may be some things that I'll have to run through some other people that, so it may not just be a decision I can make. So I'm making a note for myself and I will get back to you about that. And I
Okay.
think that's great news. That's wonderful to hear. That's exactly how we want our strategy work to happen. So, but I know that with all of you, there's limitations as far as funding goes. So that's something for us to take a look at. So I will do some digging and we'll get back. And I also think the shoulder tap strategy, that is, I think, an ongoing challenge, is that retailers are worried about how that potentially could impact their customers, or I think we've seen other counties who've utilized that strategy struggle with that. So I'm glad law enforcement is willing to go back and do some education, and it's also an opportunity to educate the whole community about the reasons why you should not buy for underage youth. So thank you for that update. Did I miss anyone?
Yep, this is Mary from Clayton
Oh,
County.
yeah, sorry, Mary. Hi.
No, that's okay. I was just waiting.
Oh, okay. Well, it's all you now.
Our challenges, I don't consider them huge challenges, I guess. We're still getting Rachel oriented, so doing a lot of introductions for her. We've had coalition members who have been fantastic about taking her out and about and making some of those introductions, getting her trained, obviously. One of the things that she's working on right now and maybe struggling a little bit with is trying to get life skills implemented into another school district next year. We've had some conversations, and I know that she and I have talked about that, what options are, and she's taking some of those back to the school districts, but I don't see that as a big challenge. Probably our biggest success recently is she just met with the county attorney here about 2 weeks ago to start some work on language for social hosts. So that was kind of exciting.
Oh, great. That's good news.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like she's jumped right into the project and is doing well. So, and thank you for this.
And Tracy's been a great resource, of course.
Yes,
so.
Absolutely. It's great that Tracy's still there to help with some of that transition. So,
Yes.
So good. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Did we make sure that everybody had a chance to update and share? Any other questions that came up for you as people were updating? Okay. Well, Janet and I have just a few things we wanted to share with you, and some you may have heard about maybe through your coordinator or kind of through the grapevine, but I'm going to just take a second and stop share because I'm going to show you a document. I'm going to go through this kind of quickly, but this is something we can certainly just send out to you when we send out the link for the recording. So let me just pull this up. So if you remember during our last call, we talked about, can everybody see that? Oh, hold on just a second. Can everybody see a training needs document?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. So during our last update call, I think I had mentioned, and probably you may have heard this through your coordinator, Claire Jones is working with her project to do some training work, and she's also helped with some deliverables. And so we realized through some of the surveys that we conducted, we really weren't getting the type of detail that we wanted to hear from our coordinators about what their needs were. And so what Claire decided to do, which I thought was a great idea, was to call each coordinator, set up a time to talk to them, and really ask them some pointed questions about what their struggles were, what they'd like to see happen within the project, what needs they had that IDPH could help address. And so this is the summary that Claire came up with based on those discussions she had with the coordinators. I think they happened December into the beginning of January. So I'm not going to read all of these to you, but you can kind of get a feel for the direction that our coordinators are going in. And obviously she arranged everything by the SPIF steps, which makes sense. So many of these things, what we've decided to do is to either come up with some specific trainings that we will host. If there's something that really takes more kind of pointed knowledge about a specific strategy, that we're going to either work with a CAP to figure out a training, or we're going to work with PIRE potentially. And so I'm still working with the CAP to iron out a few trainings that are coming up, but we will have some kind of training plan document that we'll be sharing. In addition, we're also doing some topic calls that will address some of these issues, and those are optional calls that happen each month. And we just talk, there's usually some education that's provided about a specific topic and then some discussion. And so we're going to work really hard to make sure that these items are covered. We also have an intern that's working with us in our bureau until the end of April, and she has been pulling together resources that are being requested. So if it's just something like, I think, for instance, how to craft an MOU was one right here, was a request. So she pulled up some resources, and we're going to be posting those on the workstation. So we're in the process of pulling together some of that information right now. So I think the information that was gathered was really helpful. It really assists us in understanding where the coordinators are. So I'll just click through some of the rest of the, so Claire organized it by the SPIF steps and then also by specific strategies. And I think a lot of the requests kind of mirror some of the things that you were talking about as challenges or struggles from some of the strategy work that was discussed today. So I will gladly send this out so you can take a look at it further if you'd like, but just know that we are working through these items. We really appreciate the information that was shared from the coordinators, and this will definitely help us direct our training and technical assistance needs. Is there any questions on this document? Okay, so I'm going to go back to our agenda. If I can. There we go. Okay. So another component that came out of that training, needs assessment, one-on-one discussions. Well, there were a couple of things, but one was having new coordinators that are kind of newer, as a couple months, a month on the project, go through a SPIF 101 training and something that's kind of like crash course of the face-to-face trainings that we've offered in the past. And so Claire is pulling together a training right now, and some of the new coordinators are going to go through that with her. And so she's going to be providing that. So if you do have turnover in your coordinator, that we can offer that training to them, and you are always more than welcome to participate. But Claire will work with the coordinator, figure out a time that works best for them, and the training will happen via Zoom. So just know that that's an option. We also have decided to offer some very pointed technical assistance to counties that maybe are having some struggles with a specific strategy. So if a county's struggling with building capacity, or maybe they are feeling really stuck about the direction of a strategy, Claire is available to do some one-on-one technical assistance with the coordinator. And she has background in prevention work, but she also can spend some time doing some research and sharing some information with the coordinator. So if that is something that any of you as supervisors would like Claire to provide to your coordinator, your county, we have time for that. So please let me know. There's a couple of counties that I've had Claire connect with because we've just had discussions about struggles that are going on. But if If you would like that one-on-one technical assistance, it is available. Please utilize it. I think it's a great resource. We're going to see how it works through PFS. It might be a model we continue to use down the road. So just know that that's available. If you'd like Claire to work with your coordinator on a specific topic or issue or strategy, just email me and I'm happy to set that up for you. And normally what she's been doing is about 2 1-hour to 1.5 hour sessions, and those also happen via Zoom. And the time to do that discussion would be based on what the coordinator's schedule is like. So if you'd like that as an option, just email me and let me know. So site visits. This is something that Janet and I, I think we've contacted just about everybody at this point. Or if your agency is going through some coordinator transition, we might be waiting until you get a new coordinator on board. But we are planning on doing site visits in the next couple of weeks. So we, I think, have scheduled or just about done confirming all the schedules at this point. We're in the process of sending out the site visit questions to you, and we'll send those via email, but there's a new component that we're being asked to utilize here at IDPH, and that is there's a site visit form that's actually part of iowagrants.gov, and I know Janet's used it. I have not used it yet, but you all will be getting it. I believe there's a component that gets assigned where you have to confirm that the site visit is on a specific day and a specific time. Is that correct, Janet?
Yes, it is. So, and they will get an email, and it's specifically to the coordinator where they'll have to go in and then just say, yes, they did receive the acknowledgement through Iowa Grants.
Okay. So just know that that's coming, and there's likely, I believe, I have not messed with it very much yet, but there is some other reporting processes that we'll have to utilize through Iowa Grants at the completion of your site visit. And so there will be a document that lives in Iowa Grants that records as a kind of a record of your site visit. So just know that you'll be getting more information about that. So if you get an email, if your coordinator gets an email about the upcoming site visit, then you'll know what that's about. And we'll be providing you with more guidance as we move through this process. I've not yet used this new form. PFS is going to be the first grant that I use it with, so we'll all be learning about this form together. Progress reports and action plan reminders. So I just asked Janet, she did some review of the progress reports from this past quarter, and there were some just kind of common themes that we noticed through the review process. So I just asked her if she would share those with you today, just so you're in the loop about it.
Okay, overall, everybody just did a really outstanding job, especially with the action plan steps. Now that they're going to have to be copied and pasted into the document, I think everybody just really did a phenomenal job, and it's also something that they can use. I think it's probably help them track their progress, so it's going to be helpful to everyone. Some of the common themes that we had were if there is an ongoing step, then that step needs to show some progress. For instance, if it's ongoing, it should be at least 25% for this first quarter, and then 50% of the next quarter, and then so on. And that's specifically for like building capacity. And also in that same vein, if there's a capacity building step, which each action or each strategy should have, the capacity building step should never be at 0% because it should be something that is continuous. Another theme was that, if a strategy is not 100% completed, then it shouldn't be marked 100% yes. Sometimes I think that was probably just an error, and this is a new thing. So if the strategy step is 100% completed, if a coordinator said that they were going to be sending out one press release and they did it, then yes, that's 100% and it can be marked that. Sometimes they would mark yes and then 0% completed. And then another theme was, we had added specific examples for how fidelity was being used in the strategies, and that was under the implementation section of the actual quarterly report. And sometimes that was kind of, I think it's in small type, and so maybe it was just kind of skipped over. So that's something that the coordinators need to pay attention to and make sure that they incorporate how fidelity is being used for each of the strategies and then list it there. And at this time, all sections of the quarterly report or all of the SPIF steps should have something in them. Even evaluation, everything, it shouldn't be left blank. There should always be a portion, or there should always be coming back, like, you know, it should be cyclical, and there's always a portion, always something in the SPIF cycle that should be happening for each strategy. And then also in the minutes, it's important to have Iowa Partnerships for Success written out at least once in the minutes, not always just in abbreviations. It's got to have Iowa Partnerships for Success written out. But that was overall, everything has just been great, and everybody's been doing a great job. I was very impressed reviewing it, so thank you.
Great. And hopefully next quarter will be easier. It'll just get easier as we move along. Are there any questions about the progress report or action plan report form? Okay, thank you, Jana, for giving that update, and thanks for all the work that you've done on completing that report. Appreciate it. And then lastly, we just wanted to let you know about a new format, and actually Leslie was the one who led the first call, but we had a request from a coordinator about changing the format of the coordinator open forum calls. And the request was that IDPH not be on the call and that a capacity coach lead the call, so there maybe coordinators could feel like there could be more discussion and more open sharing. So Leslie Mussman, one of our capacity coaches, led the first call that happened in February. And Leslie, I don't want to speak from you, but I'm not trying to put you on the spot because I didn't tell you I was going to talk about this. But I think that it went well. And Leslie, if you want to add anything, feel free. But it seemed like there was really good sharing. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think it was a good discussion, and everybody, all the coordinators that were on the call participated. There was an evaluation that went out afterwards, and we asked all of the coordinators to fill out that evaluation just so we could find out why some of them still aren't participating. And I didn't get any responses back from the coordinators who didn't participate. So as supervisors, if you can have that conversation and maybe let Julie or Janet know that on the site visits, it's just helpful for us as coaches to know what it is that we can do to support them.
Absolutely. Thank you, Leslie. And that is true. We host 2 optional calls for coordinators per month, the topic call and the coordinator open forum. And, you know, we've talked about this in the past on this call, is we've got a variety of coordinators that are kind of on all ends of the spectrum. So we've got some that were SPIF-SIG coordinators. We've got some who have worked in prevention for many years. We've got some that are brand new to prevention, and you're trying to figure out how to meet everybody's needs effectively. So we're trying a variety of different training, technical assistance processes. We're trying some calls, but it's only helpful if you participate. And so, you know, there are plenty of other things that all of us could be doing. We really want the coordinators to be a part of the call. So appreciate you just checking in with your coordinators, asking them if they're participating. If they're not, if there's some reason for it that you think would be helpful for us knowing the reasons for that, please share that or encourage the coordinator to share with us. We certainly want to do what works for the coordinators. So it sounds like we're going to try this format for the next couple months, and we're going to ask the coaches to help assist with that work. They're going to take turns leading the calls, but it sounds like at least this initial call went really well, and they kind of even just kind of helped each other on the call, and Leslie kind of took a step back, and they were assisting each other and talking about kind of what works and what's effective, and that's exactly what we want to see happen. So it's really positive direction. All right, and just a reminder, some upcoming meetings. We have our contractor meeting on April 20th. We're going to be sending out an agenda once we get some additional information from the CAPT. We're going to have some really, I think, great, it's going to be a really good day, some good training, some good activities. We'll do some updates from IDPH. So you'll be getting some, we'll probably just post that on the workstation website in the next few weeks. So you'll get that information soon. Just a reminder, the Governor's Conference on Substance Abuse is happening the 18th and 19th, and it is only $40 to attend because it's the 40th year. And I believe registration closes in maybe just a week or so, a couple weeks. So please, if you would like to attend, we certainly welcome you. It's not required through PFS, just optional. And is there anything else you'd like to, do you have questions or you'd like to ask one another? Anything we didn't get to in the agenda?
Julie, Jen wants to know who wasn't participating in the calls.
Oh, I think that's Tessa.
Oh, sorry.
I don't want to put anyone on the spot. I just ask that you just talk to your coordinators and see if they're participating consistently. There's a couple counties that are not participating very consistently, but I don't want to call people out and make anyone feel bad. So I just ask that you'd follow up with your coordinators. If you're not getting a straight answer, you can contact me and I'll let you know via email. Other items? Any other questions? Well, just one other item just to share with you. We're still some positions short here at the department and the prevention side of things. So just please, your continued patience with us is appreciated as we are managing quite a few projects and writing some new grants and trying to manage a lot of projects that are happening, and also just making sure that we're responding to emails and those things. So if one of us hasn't gotten back to you, please just know we'll get back to you as quickly as we can. Like I said in the past, don't be afraid to follow up again if you're needing something urgently. And we'll keep you posted as we figure out, hopefully, some transitions potentially will be happening, or some new positions will be filled in the future. But there's a lot of things that are up in the air right now. Also, just a reminder, May 2nd was supposed to be our next meeting, but we decided to cancel it because that conflicts with the ISASA meetings. So just take that out for your calendar. Many of you will be at ISASA. And then our next meeting after that was supposed to happen on July 4th. I'm thinking most of you will be off that day, and you should be. So I just pushed it back a week to July 11th at the same time. So mark your calendars now if you would. And I think that is all we have for today. So thank you for participating, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks. You too.